show-offs.
So we all know Dehya, right? She's that one standard banner unit that's like as comparable to Chi-Chi and how terrible they are. Or so you would think. If you read the title of the video, I think Dehya isn't as useless as people make her out to be. She's not like the best pyro applicator or like best like, oh, you gotta have this character, you gotta build him, yada yada yada. But she definitely has like some utility to her that does make her worth using in certain teams. Now before we go over these teams, let's quickly go over how you'd probably want to build Dehya in the big 25. So to give a quick rundown on how Dehya's skills work, so basically her elemental skill, you put down a field and then any of your characters in that field gain resistance to interruptions, and if they would take damage, Dehya would take a portion of that damage. As well, like every 2.5 seconds I believe, she does pyro damage whenever you attack something, so kind of like Albedo's skill. Then as for her burst, it's just damage. Not really good damage, so I wouldn't really stay in this very long. There are times where you would want to use this, and we will go over that when we get to it, but you typically don't want to use that. And then, you know, her normal attacks are normal attacks, nothing too special there. It's really her skill that just kind of makes her useful here. So, and this scales off of HP too, so you'd want to build her on a lot of HP. But before we get to the artifacts, I will preference that you are going to need C2 for this. Now, I know not everybody has C2, but if you guys do have C2 Dehya, then this gives her skill 100 to like 90% uptime, so it's usually going to be like ready like all the time. And then for the artifacts, if you want to give her as much utility as possible, you definitely put her on 4-piece tenacity and you just stack HP on everything. I didn't go that route because I'm delusional. Yeah, you just want to stack as much HP on her as possible. And then for weapons, Reed works too, but honestly you could go with the, what is it, the bell here? That's not the bell, right? You can go with the bell here, whatever like Claymore has like HP benefits to it. Oh yeah, the portable power saw, my personal favorite right here. You just want something with like HP on it. Again, just HP all across the board with Dehya. Level up this skill, and there you go. She's a very comfy pyro applicator you can put in any of your teams. Now, what kind of teams would you want to put her in? Let's get straight to that. So I've got two teams. So we've got a Overload Varessa team, or Overload team in general. Sure, you could use Shingling, but the problem with Shingling is her burst. Despite the fact you could have like 300 some energy recharge on her, she just struggles to get her burst up. Maybe that's just a me thing. Let me know in the comments if you guys just have no issues with Shingling getting energy, but I do find Shingling's burst to be hard to get energy for. As well as a Melt Ganyu team, or just any Melt team in general with a Dendro applicator like Nahida. So let's just quickly go over the Melt version first. We'll save the best one for a later half of this video. Honestly, the Caesar salad is just getting too weak nowadays, so this is gonna be like my new test dummy here, I guess. Not even gonna pop her burst because I need the Cry or Pyro to stay active. I cannot English apparently. Okay, he just completely dodged that. There we go. Now, for those who have actually played Ganyu, you'll know that when you're like in her charge state here and that gets interrupted, she gets interrupted easily. Having Dehya's skill on the field, however, completely removes that issue. Now, sure, you could use a shielder, but then it's like you're kind of relying on Bennett to carry the pyro application with burning with Nahida. But having Dehya and Nahida's thing like active, you're always going to get pyro no matter like what you do. Now, I think if you use her burst, it does kind of mess with the reactions here, but you'll be fine with that. You're already doing like crazy melt numbers, so on top of Ganyu being very squishy, Dehya will just kind of tank some of that damage. So you can kind of think of Dehya as like Toma, but you don't have a shield, if that makes any sense. Because like Ganyu can't use Toma because you're not trying to do this with her. You're not trying to normal attack. You're trying to do charge attacks, which is something that doesn't trigger off Toma's shield. So Dehya is just kind of like fills that role much better than Toma does. All right, let's try this out against this stupid statue right here. Lava dragon statue. I don't know what about this is a statue, but pop up, I guess.
Teamwork is dreamwork. Born of ice and frost.
Yeah, I don't know why this thing is so tanky. Like, this thing just has an absurd amount of health, and it's crazy. So there, she like took a hit to the face from this guy, but since we had her field up, she did not get interrupted. Despite this thing having like a metric ton of HP, we did not die. And we also took it out, I can't really say relatively quickly. That did take a hot minute to do, but something I did completely forget to mention while we were going over her skill. So you guys know that her burst gets canceled whenever she jumps, and that was like something everybody would like say, oh, Dehya sucks because of this thing. Best way I've utilized her burst is quite literally and simply put iframes. Yeah, whenever there's like a boss that's gonna like deal a metric ton of damage to me, you just pop her skill, completely tank it, and then you jump so you don't have to stay in it longer. You could also just switch to another character too. Her thing getting canceled in her burst while she's jumping or whatever, not that big a deal, because why are you trying to jump in her burst anyways? That's just a DPS loss in general. Or that's me trying to do charge attacks with Ganya here and then jumping in between, because why? I don't know. I never really got that criticism, but anyways, let's show off the overload team with Dehya. This could just have like any other combination of characters in it. I chose Varessa for this one. Now I will say my Varessa is C1. I got 2 of them in a 10 roll. Get it, I guess. As well, I do have a R4 Lost Prayers to Sacred Winds, because for a hot minute in like 2022, they would constantly give me Catalyst of the 5-star variety. I can't explain it. It was just constantly, I was getting Catalyst shoved down my throat. Anyways, I do need to do the weekly boss for Natlin, and this team, very good against it. Let's run it. I do kind of hate this boss and how like Gate keeps you into using strictly Natlin characters, because if we don't use Natlin characters, this guy is just going to run your fade. Oh man, he is already slicing the thing in half. Come on, he's almost dead. Okay, understandable. He is over here now. Now maybe this is just Varessa being a crazy character, but again, Dehya does just kind of provide that nice off-field pyro damage, as well as that comfortability and just taking some damage, so your characters don't really die as fast, and they don't really get interrupted either, which is kind of a big thing here. Completely body this weekly boss. So hopefully this video was a convincing enough argument on Dehya's usefulness in the game. Not completely useless, but definitely not the greatest option. Again, biggest downside is that you do need C2 to get like full uptime on her skill here, which very much sucks. However, I mean, it's not like getting constellations for her will be near impossible, because people lose 50/50s, and maybe they'll bring back the character selector thing from last anniversary. But yeah, also very cheap character to make. Again, just 4-piece tenacity, HP all across the board. Fits very well in like reverse melt teams or overload teams, so especially if you don't want to deal with Xingling's energy issues. So I would say she's a more defensive option to Xingling, where Xingling's more offensive. And that is all I've got for this video. If you guys thought this video was informative, like this video, yada yada yada, make sure you leave that down in the comments below. Share this video with your friends, to any Dehya haters that you know, because there was certainly a lot of them. Be sure you join my Discord server. Till next time, I will catch you guys in the next one. Deuces.